How's it going, fam? Welcome back to the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions. And of course, I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back. And these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. How's it going, guys? Today, I want to talk about spirituality. Hey, guys, I'm messing around. Hey, I just wanted to talk about a subject that was coming to mind today. I know I talk a lot about, I talk about my journey, right? Like what goes on with me. And, today, I don't know why it keeps presenting itself, abundance, right? Abundance, abundance, abundance. Everyone's trying to manifest abundance at the end of the day. So I was thinking about someone already who has the abundance necessary to do whatever they want, or they're living comfortably, right? Now, it's an interesting concept. I know that we like to, the way I teach is that there's no difference between a rich man or a poor man. Yes, it's energy at the end of the day, but what I see that makes all the difference in the world is if someone is well-rounded within all categories per se in their life. I've met in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't want to just say that like this is only for alcoholics. It's not. It's for everybody. This message can be learned, and you can learn a lot from it. But I think there's this misconception that like once you've got a certain amount of money in your bank account, you're gonna feel better. I find that that's an often a fool's errand, right? A lot of the times when you find someone who has made it, and especially when you find them, and the funny thing is like when you find them in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, where they've got all the abundance necessary, right? And then you wonder to yourself, why are they in the rooms? Right? Like, why are they an alcoholic? And you say, well, because he had all the money and he could drink as much as he wanted. No, a poor man could do the same thing. I tell you guys this, alcohol and drug addiction was the key for me to get into my spirituality, to get into the spiritual awakening. But it's not the only path. There's many paths to self, right? To the mastery of self. So no matter what road you find yourself on, know that path that we think is a pipe dream. And that pipe dream is that if we have all this magnificent abundance that we're going to feel better. That's not true. Yes, I say that you should go and get the abundance that is afforded to you. It is your birthright. It is your sovereign birthright. We are free beings, spiritual beings, but we're having a human experience, right? Everything in this world, we're actually in curses. Right? I think about what I couldn't do in the last decade. I want to say the last 2 decades, because I've been cursed not only with family curses, generational curses, but I've also done the cursing myself while I was here. And you ask yourself, well, what does cursing mean, Eddie? I was addicted to alcoholism, right? That is a generational curse, but I started to live within that curse. And then I cursed myself in other ways, right? Like, I lost my license at some point. I couldn't get that back. There was just different stuff like that, right? Like there's always a dynamic within that process where you lose everything, right? And now I'm in the rebuilding stage where I'm starting to get a lot of that stuff back. And the thing that I've learned throughout the journey is this. It's like I've been a poor man and been bestowed a grand amount of abundance been bestowed upon me. Like, you think about something like 30 grand, right? So like, if you've been gifted 30 grand, you'll burn through it. You'll burn through that money really quickly. And so that's exactly what I did. And it makes me like, now that I have a clear mind and I have a better perspective on life, after having my spiritual awakening, I realized that it's because to be in an energy where you have that type of abundance and you appreciate it, it takes certain steps to get there. And a lot of the times people will skip many steps, get the abundance, but not realize that there's steps in between. And it's not, we think that the end all see all is the generated abundance. It's not. It's the process that you got to get there. Now, for me, when it slipped through my fingers, I spent a year's salary for a lot of people, even for myself, right? I spent a year's salary within a month I think it was a month and a half, something like that. Now, that's ridiculous, right? I was living out of my means. I was living obsessively. I was living with gluttony. So there's a lot of, I was living within sloth. So I was already committing a whole bunch of heinous acts to myself, right? Now, if you think about it in terms like that, you guys, you'll realize that it's not abundance. It's the lack, it's that lack mentality, the poverty mentality, the poor man's mentality, because I wasn't ready here and I wasn't ready here. Energetically, I wasn't ready for that type of abundance. And a lot of us aren't ready for it. And you say, well, what are you talking about, man? I need the abundance now. I can't get the things I need done. That's not true. You have what it takes to get what you need done now. So whenever you put yourself in the energetic field of getting something that you want, it's up here first. You got to think about it, right? And then you got to start taking preemptive action. And when you start taking that action, that's when things start to change, right? You start to call in the people, places, and things, whether that be time, money, opportunity. All those things start to come to you, but it all comes in within processes. That is the experience. And money is only, the energetic form of money is only one way for us to reach enlightenment. It's part of the journey. I think it's part of the spiritual business of being on planet Earth, because planet Earth right now, what is it? It's subjugated right now. You have, in order to be in a process where you have manifested abundance, you have to break a code. You have to break curses, right? And those curses are the generational curses of poverty mindset. Also, you have to think about it like this, guys. It's a step-by-step process to get there. That's why I say there's no category that separates spirituality. It flows like energy. It flows into all spaces of your life. And that's why I condone and I preach about this subject in any way possible to reach any person. It's even if you're out there and you're rich, you can be rich with the money energetically, but you may not be rich of the soul. You may not be rich of the mind. See, the problem is this, you guys. Why would a rich man or a rich woman feel the need to imprison another person with their money? That comes from a poverty mindset. You can be a rich man or woman and still have a poor heart. That can't be bought. That is only bought through your experience. And that experience is the spiritual experience. You have to figure it out. See, the thing is some people have to gain the riches and then lose it. So everyone goes through a different process, right? Now, the interesting thing is, and here's another example, is why would a rich man go out and buy and drown himself in alcohol, drown himself in hookers, or anything like that, right? That comes from a place of lack. See, you can fill yourself up with material abundance, material items, but they can't fill your soul because you're going to get tired of it. It comes from a place of lack and it comes from a place of obsession. See, the only way to fix your heart is to truly dive within. And that's what we mean in the spiritual world or the even in religion, even in whatever you talk about in a spiritual experience, having the awakening, you have to dive deep, you guys. You have to dive in your heart. And those that are in the spiritual field, we have to continuously dive back in, continuously search within ourselves, because it's a forever healing process, right? But you have to figure out, and a lot of it comes from your childhood. Even if you had a good childhood, you guys, I don't care where you came from. You could have had the best childhood in your life, but you're lacking in something. Everyone is lacking in someone because you're in planet Earth. You're in a school. This school is Earth, and you're having an earthly experience. So if you're having this experience, I know because this place is full of lack. You have to dive in and figure out what you learned then that you're doing now. Anyone, if you're in a place of anger, sadness, resentment, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, drug addiction, sex addiction, bulimia, whatever it is, I'll tell you this, that comes not because of those symptoms. Those are all symptoms. It's symptomatic to the core issues. What are those core issues? Those core issues usually derive from what you learned as a young kid, and it's unhealed trauma. And this is where you grow. This is where you start to become the divine being that you already are. You are God. You are a God, and God is everything. That's why I say that. You don't know your divine abilities because you haven't done the deep dive. When you start to do the deep dive, you realize that money doesn't matter. The things that really matter come from the heart. And what comes from the heart usually derives, not usually, but most importantly derives from love. Love being the highest vibration on planet Earth. Everything comes from that place. So things like family, friends, being good to others, teaching others, uplifting humanity, bringing us out of debt, of the soul, debt of the mind, debt of our hearts. That's when we truly awaken. And during that awakening process is where you find that there is something more, there's something grander. And when you give yourself up to that mission, when you give yourself up to the mission that was yours, always was yours, it's not a process of finding it, it's a process of realizing it. And that realization comes within your heart space. And when you do, I can promise you, it doesn't matter with a bank zeros after that comma, how much you have. It's about what you do with the time period that you have here. I love you guys so much. That's all I got, you guys. Make sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Holla at your boy. Woo woo.